Have you ever felt a fire rising inside you? A moment where someone's words or actions lit a fuse, and before you knew it, you exploded. Maybe you shouted, maybe you walked away in silence, but deep down, you knew anger had taken over. The Stoics believed that this fire, this impulse, is not a sign of strength, but a moment where we lose our freedom. Because every time we react without thinking, we hand over control to our emotions. But what if you could pause? What if you could stay grounded, calm, unshaken, no matter what's thrown at you? That's the Stoic way. And today, I'll show you how. The Stoics saw anger not as power, but as a form of inner slavery. Seneca, one of the wisest Stoic thinkers, called it a temporary madness. And if you really think about it, he was right. Anger clouds the mind. It pushes away reason, drowns out clarity, and blinds us from seeing things as they truly are. In that moment of rage, we stop thinking. We simply react. And more often than not, it's a reaction we later regret. Words we didn't mean, decisions made in haste, bridges burned that didn't need to be. The Stoics weren't emotionless. They felt everything, but they refused to let those emotions decide their actions. Because power is not in shouting louder. Power is in remaining calm when the world tries to shake you. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who ruled an empire and still found time to reflect on his thoughts every night, reminded himself, "You don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you. That one sentence can become a shield." You see, anger often comes when we expect the world to behave a certain way, when someone offends us, or when things don't go our way. But the Stoics believe that we can't control other people or the chaos around us. The only thing truly ours is how we choose to respond. And that response, silent, calm, intentional. When you understand this, you begin to see anger not as something to fight, but something to understand and gently rise above. Anger often feels like it arrives without warning, sharp, immediate, and uncontrollable. But what if, instead of being swept away by it, you could meet it with calm clarity? The Stoics believe that the way we respond to anger is not fixed, it can be trained, softened, and reshaped. The 5 strategies you've just explored aren't abstract ideas from ancient books. They're practical tools for real-life situations. Whether it's the heat of an argument, a frustrating comment, or a slow-building resentment, these principles give you the space to pause, reflect, and respond with wisdom rather than impulse. They don't ask you to be emotionless. They guide you toward emotional strength. Applying these strategies in daily life begins with awareness. When you practice pausing before reacting, viewing your anger from a higher perspective, or writing down your thoughts instead of shouting them out, you interrupt the old patterns. When you choose to see others with empathy and accept that imperfection is part of being human, you free yourself from the exhausting cycle of blame and resistance. With repetition, these practices become natural. Slowly but surely, they rewire how you show up in moments of tension. And that's the power of Stoicism. Not to make you cold, but to help you stay steady, even when life shakes you. In learning to master your anger, you learn to master yourself. The pause from Epictetus. The first Stoic strategy for overcoming anger is something so simple that we often overlook it. The pause. In moments of tension, when someone offends us, criticizes us, or disrespects us, our instincts usually take over. We react instantly. Words fly out, faces twist, hearts race. But the Stoics taught that between what happens to us and how we respond, there is a gap. And in that gap lies our greatest strength. To pause is to take your power back. It's to step out of the storm for just a breath and ask, is this really worth it? Because the truth is, Epictetus said that we are not disturbed by events themselves, but by the way we interpret them. That interpretation happens so quickly that we don't even realize we've made a choice. The pause breaks that unconscious pattern. Imagine you're in a heated conversation and someone says something that strikes a nerve. Instead of firing back, you do something unexpected. You say nothing. You inhale slowly. You feel the fire rising in your chest and you let it burn without adding fuel. Just one deep breath. That's the moment when you stop being a puppet of your emotion and become its master. That's the moment the Stoics lived for. Practicing this takes time. It starts with awareness. Begin by noticing where anger shows up in your body. Tight jaw, clenched hands, racing thoughts. When you feel those signs, whisper a word to yourself. Something grounding like pause or still. Let that be your anchor. When someone cuts you off in traffic, when your phone lags, when a loved one speaks harshly, use those small, everyday annoyances as practice rounds. Every time you choose stillness over reaction, you rewire your mind to respond instead of erupt. You're not suppressing your anger, you're transforming it into wisdom, because real strength isn't in how loudly you speak or how sharply you retaliate. Real strength is silent. It's in the breath you take instead of the insult you throw. It's in the calm you create inside, even when everything outside is chaos. That's the Stoic pause. A simple space, invisible to others, but life-changing to you. You anger from a distance. Marcus Aurelius. The second powerful Stoic strategy to control anger is learning to view your anger from a distance, almost like you're watching it from above. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, practiced this deeply. He reminded himself that emotions, including anger, are like passing clouds or waves on the ocean, temporary and always moving. When you're caught inside the storm of anger, it feels overwhelming and permanent. But from a higher perspective, it's just a moment, a reaction that doesn't define you. Imagine this. You're upset because someone said something rude or unfair. Instead of immediately engaging in the heat of the moment, you imagine stepping back, like a bird soaring above the scene. You watch yourself feeling angry. Hear your racing thoughts. Notice your tense body. From this viewpoint, anger loses its power to control you because you're no longer inside it. You're observing it. You might ask yourself, is this anger helping me? Is it solving anything? Will this matter in 5 days or even 5 hours? Often, the answer is no. This distance creates space to choose a wiser response. To practice this, when you feel anger rising, close your eyes for a moment and visualize yourself watching the situation unfold from a distance. See your emotions like colors or shapes, not facts. Remind yourself that your initial reaction is just one interpretation, and that you have the power to choose another. This doesn't mean ignoring your feelings or pretending nothing happened. It means honoring your emotions without letting them dictate your actions. Over time, this aerial view will become a natural habit, helping you stay grounded, calm, and clear-headed even when challenges come your way. Seneca's night ritual. The third Stoic strategy for managing anger and cultivating calm is journaling and reflection, a practice deeply embraced by Seneca and Marcus Aurelius. Every evening, Marcus Aurelius would reflect on his day, asking himself what he did well, where he fell short, and how he could improve tomorrow. This simple habit of looking inward allows us to transform emotional chaos into clarity and growth. When anger arises, writing it down helps you step outside the heat of the moment. It creates a safe space where you can honestly explore what triggered your feelings without judgment. Imagine coming home after a difficult day where your patience was tested. Instead of carrying that tension inside you overnight, you take out a journal and gently write, what happened? How did I feel? Did my reaction help or harm? This process encourages mindfulness, acknowledging your emotions without being overwhelmed by them. Over time, journaling trains your mind to notice patterns. Maybe you realize certain people or situations consistently stir up your anger, or that specific thoughts fuel it more than others. Awareness like this is the first step toward true control. Practically, you don't need to write pages. Even a few sentences are enough. Some Stoics recommended writing before bed as a way to cleanse the mind, while others journaled first thing in the morning to prepare for potential challenges. You can start by dedicating 5 minutes each day to jot down your thoughts and feelings. Ask yourself gentle questions like, what made me angry today? Was it within my control? How can I respond better next time? This habit will not only lessen the intensity of your anger, but also deepen your understanding of yourself. Through reflection, you shift from being a victim of your emotions to becoming the calm observer and wise guide of your inner world. Reframe the offense. The fourth Stoic strategy to manage anger invites us to change the way we see the person or situation that triggered our emotions. Instead of immediately assuming that someone meant to hurt or offend us, Stoicism encourages us to pause and consider what might be going on beneath their actions. Seneca reminded us that people often act out of ignorance, pain, or their own inner struggles, not to intentionally cause harm. When we start to see others through this lens of empathy, anger begins to soften. Imagine a moment when someone snapped at you or said something rude without apparent reason. Our first reaction is usually to defend ourselves or feel hurt. But what if, for a moment, you imagine that this person is dealing with their own hardships, stress at work, fear of failure, or sadness they cannot express? That shift in perspective doesn't excuse bad behavior, but it helps you separate the person from their actions. It allows you to respond with kindness or calmness rather than fuel the fire of anger. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize?" Practically, to use this strategy, start by reminding yourself that everyone is human and imperfect, just like you. When you feel anger rising, take a moment to silently ask, what struggles might this person be facing? What fear or pain might be behind their words or actions? This mental exercise creates compassion where there might have been irritation. Over time, this habit can transform your relationships, reduce conflict, and deepen your peace of mind. You will find that when you choose empathy, you break the cycle of anger before it even begins. Accept imperfection. The fifth and final Stoic strategy to tame anger is accepting imperfection, both in others and in yourself. Marcus Aurelius, despite being a powerful emperor, constantly reminded himself that he would meet people who are selfish, rude, or careless. He accepted this as part of life's reality, not as a personal attack, but as the natural way humans behave. This acceptance is not resignation or giving up. Rather, it is a wise recognition that the world and the people in it are not perfect, and neither are we. When anger arises because someone behaves badly or disappoints us, it often comes from the expectation that things should be different, better, fairer, kinder. The Stoics teach us to challenge these expectations and instead embrace reality as it is. Understanding that imperfection is part of the human experience softens the sharp edges of anger. It reminds us that no one is deliberately set to ruin our peace. They are simply acting from their own flaws and limitations, just as we do at times. To practice this, try starting your day by reminding yourself, as Marcus Aurelius did, that you will encounter imperfection. When faced with frustration, say quietly, "This is how life is. This is how people are." This acceptance doesn't mean you approve of harmful behavior, but it frees you from the heavy burden of fighting what cannot be changed. It allows you to respond calmly, with wisdom and patience, rather than with reactive anger. Over time, embracing imperfection nurtures resilience and inner peace, the very heart of Stoic living. Final thoughts. Anger is a powerful emotion, one that we all face at some point. But as the Stoics show us, it doesn't have to control us. Through simple yet profound practices, pausing before reacting, stepping back to observe our feelings, reflecting honestly through journaling, choosing empathy over judgment, and accepting the imperfect nature of life. These are not quick fixes or empty platitudes, but lifelong habits that help us live with greater peace, clarity, and strength. Remember, the Stoics were not saying you should never feel anger. Instead, they taught that true freedom lies in mastering your response to it. Each time you pause instead of explode, each time you step back to see your anger as a passing cloud, each time you reflect instead of react, you reclaim your inner calm. You become the steady presence in a chaotic world. This path isn't about suppressing your humanity, but about embracing it with wisdom and grace. So next time anger stirs within you, don't fight it. Understand it. Don't feed it. Observe it. And above all, don't let it own you. Choose to respond like a Stoic, with patience, compassion, and self-control. In doing so, you not only calm your own mind, but also inspire those around you to do the same. That is the quiet power of Stoicism, the power to transform your life, one breath at a time. Subscribe to join a journey of change.